welcome or welcome back to my channel and to today's video, where I'm back with another video in my theatre scrapbook. We have something a bit different for you today. So the last two videos in this series up on the channel so far are musicals. So The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and the Lightning Thief Percy Jackson musical. But I want to document other theatrical adjacent things I see. So for example, comedy or live music. If I see ballets but at the cinema, which is the main way that I watch ballets. If I see a film that is particularly musical, so for example the Wicked movies will get spreads in the theatre scrapbook. So anything that I think would make a cute spread and is theatre adjacent in some way. So for this one, we have Buffy Revamped, which is a comedy experience by a one-man comedian who in 70 minutes retells all 7 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, playing all the parts. Such a fun concept. And I have seen a lot of Instagram ads for this show, and then it was finally coming to a theatre a few towns away from me. So I messaged my parents and was like, what do you think? Do you want to see this? Because Buffy is something that we've grown up on, and I thought that we would really enjoy going to see it as a family. So we went to the Gordon Craig Theatre in Stevenage to see this. The Gordon Craig is a theatre that I haven't really been to that often, but I really like. It has really good legroom. I feel like all my theatre reviews are about legroom, but if you've been to see a lot of West End stuff, and you'll know that the legroom is really quite awful in a lot of those theatres. It is so luxe at the Gordon Craig. They have like a cafe and a bar, so there's a range of stuff that you can buy beforehand. There are a lot of seats in there, and I think you would have a really good view from anywhere that you sat in the Gordon Craig, so would really recommend that experience. So for this spread, I did pick up a poster from the Gordon Craig, which is that like giant one of the actor. He predominantly plays Spike, who is one of the characters in Buffy, retelling the story of Buffy, basically. He has also done a Friends version of this where he plays Gunther, but I guess he's just on the Buffy tour right now. So that poster forms like the majority of that page, because I knew that I wouldn't have a massive review for this, because ultimately it's just like a 70-minute comedy show. So that actually was really good as a space filler. I then took some production pictures that are available online of the actor as Buffy in the bottom left, as Xander in the top left, and then Giles next to him, and then Willow in the bottom right. I just thought they were the most like iconic Buffy characters, and I guess so did the production company, and that's why they've gone for those ones as photos. But I wanted to have all 4 of the actors. I did cut round the Buffy one just to make it a bit more of a dynamic spread against that background, which is just a stock image that I found online of a theatre with blue lighting, because the background of the poster that I cut out is all really blue. And so actually a lot of this spread, as with the other 2 I've already done, turned out very blue. But I used the like red accent of his shirt to give it just a slightly different feel, and that will become more clear as we go through the spread. For the other bits and pieces, so because this isn't a musical, I don't have like a sticker sheet, and I don't have like a lot of other things to use. I don't feel the spread suffered in any way, because that poster was so massive, and I obviously did quite a big print out there of the like blue stage that I'm sticking down now. But I do also have my normal like theatre ticket that I make myself using Canva. I think I've stuck down a theatre stamp as well, which is just a stock image of the Gordon Craig. And then I also have my post-it from Letters to July that I normally use, where I put like the details of the show and the rating. But I wanted like a little bit of something extra, and I had a look on Canva for elements, and they have a lot of like these like tarot cards and like a spell book and a hand holding a stake. And I thought, yeah, this works, because Buffy is a TV show about a vampire slayer, and it's very fun, it's quite camp, it's like very high energy like in general as a show. And so these kind of like slightly caricature elements from Canva I felt really worked. Like, you know, like that stake with the hand. I just think it really works for the vibe of Buffy, especially for early Buffy. And actually the majority of this show focused on the first few seasons of Buffy, which is not my preferred seasons of Buffy. And that is why ultimately I rated overall this theatre experience 3 stars. Now 3 stars is still a really, really good rating from me. So a 5-star is like an absolute new favourite. I was talking about this in the Percy Jackson video, but like I've seen Wicked 13 times, right? Wicked is a 5-star, okay? So there are different layers. Like West Side Story is my favourite musical, that would be a 5-star. Merrily We Roll Along, 5-star. So 5 stars is very, very high. And then 4 stars is like, this is something I would definitely go and see again. Like super high energy, an amazing ensemble. Like, so again, is a very high rating. A 3 star is still a really great rating of like, had a great evening, really good like idea behind the show. It's just, I don't feel that this is something I would need to go and see again. I don't think it's something really you would see on repeat. But if you are a fan of Buffy, I think you'll really like this. The audience were in stitches because I didn't actually know this was a comedy show, which I don't know why I didn't think it would be a comedy show. So it's really hard to say that this wasn't quite what I expected, because in many ways I think it is what I expected, but it just wasn't quite for some reason. But there were so many true Buffy fans in the audience who were really seriously laughing. Like, people in the row in front of us were like falling off their seats. Like, this is a really funny show. And the actor does such a good job at portraying the different characters. He'll like whip off a wig and stick a new one on like so quickly, and he'll change his accent, change his voice. He has a really cool set, the way they've done it. He's got like a locker to represent the school. He's got like some shelving to represent like Giles's library, or to represent like the shop that the gang end up having later in the series. And all of that means that he can like hide bits of costume or wigs or props in them, and you have no idea what's coming. Suddenly he'll whip it out and he's like, oh, he's playing a different character. The way he plays Angel is really funny. He has this like big leather coat that he uses for Spike, that he also uses to help him play Angel, which is very, like, the way that's done is really clever. So there's so much of it that is just really fun in that way. And it also has a lot of like 90s references. So it has a lot of 90s music in it, which, if you like 90s music, is very fun, because he'll do like full-on performances of some of these numbers, and he's a really good singer, and he does it in like a really funny way that really fits with what he's doing. So I really liked those elements as well. But yeah, my 3 stars is because it isn't something I feel I would need to see again. But also, as I mentioned, it did focus a lot on the early seasons of Buffy. My personal favourite Buffy is the musical episode. I know every single lyrical word to the Buffy episode, the musical Buffy episode, Once More with Feeling. I used to literally recreate the entire musical episode with my friend, with My Little Ponies. Which, if you can work out, we were probably a bit old for like My Little Pony Buffy episodes, but it's fine. That was that was who we were. I have the sheet music of it. I have a giant poster. Like, the Buffy musical episode is, in my opinion, a complete masterpiece. So it didn't even really reference the musical episode, and I guess that's because he wouldn't have had the copyright to be able to do the musical episode. Like, it worked much better for him to use 90s references. But I kind of came away like, oh, like, that to me is peak Buffy, is the musical episode. And then we also didn't get as much reference to like the later Buffy episodes, which is just the Buffy I have more of a relationship with, because my parents didn't let me watch early Buffy when it first came out. They watched it without me, and I had to like peer through the door to watch. And then I started picking it up more from like season 5, and then I was a lot more into those ones. And then I've tried to go back a few times to rewatch, but the first series, basically season 1 and then season 4, in my opinion, is the weakest of Buffy. But season 1 is a very different show. Like, Buffy really grows up through the performances. She grows up with the audience, and it's just a different show, and I prefer Buffy at the end. But obviously you have to get through a number of series to get there. So I felt like I would have preferred it to focus a little bit more on the later seasons, but I think there's more characters and there's more to mock in the earlier ones, which, if you're doing a comedy show, I think that totally works. So I can absolutely see why the actor and director decided to go down that route. The tour is still going on until the 20th of March. By the time I get this video up, there won't be many performances left. And obviously it needs to be in a location you can get to, but I would recommend having a look to see whether it is somewhere you can squeeze in before the tour finishes in the UK. And then it's going to Australia for 2 weeks. So if you are one of my Australian viewers, then you might want to go and check that out. But otherwise, we're coming to the end of this spread. I'm loving the little star accents I've put around here. I think, as I said, I didn't have as much to say or to write in this one, but I still really like how this spread came out. I think I still did a good job at like getting the different elements in there, using the elements from the poster, those clip art elements from Canva, the stock images of the production, which are really nice to remember his performances of the 4 main characters, and then Spike as well. I think it worked really well, so I'm really happy with it. If you did enjoy this video, I would really appreciate a like. Oh, some boxes just fell over next to me. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe. In the description, I will have a link that's called Theatre Journal Favourites, so you can check out the journal that I use, which is something I picked up from Waterstones, as well as like the pens, the stickers, all that kind of stuff is available in there. I'll also have a link to my Instagram and my Goodreads in the description if you want to check out any more content from me. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!